Well, welcome to our July 2026 meeting for the Board of Commissioners. Ask everyone if you stand for prayer by Commissioner Burley and then pledge.
Good evening. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, Lord. Let thy will be done on earth, just as it is in heaven. Lord, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our debt, as we forgive those that sin and trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Down in the kingdom, realize all power and glory is in thy hand. This scene now, Father, we come in the best manner that we know how. We come because we said we could come. You said every knee must bow, every tongue must confess that the Lord is Jesus. Now, Lord, if we too high, Lord, bring us down. If we too low, pick us up. We know you're able, Lord. So with the sick and afflicted all through this land and country. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, you call the roll.
John R. Graham, Chairman.
Present.
Richard Burley Jr., Commissioner District 1.
Present.
Alan L. Troy, Commissioner District 2.
Present. Approval of minutes for June 2026.
Motion made.
Have a motion, to have a second? Second. And I have a second. Any further discussion? Hear none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next is financial report for June. Ask the clerk for the report, please, ma'am.
General fund collection for June 2026, $745,194.49. Listed below are the account balances as of today. Tax Commissioner, General Fund, $10,135.65. TADT, $15,250.03. Title Commission, $1,273.50. Probate Judge, General Fund, $26,634.41. Jail, $2,578.26. Drug Abuse, $143.93. Magistrate Court, General Fund, $2,858. Clerk of Court for May 2026, General Fund, $11,276.48. Jail, $129. Drug Abuse, no collection. Clerk of Court for June 2026, General Fund, $6,461.99. Jail, $335. Drug Abuse, no collection.
Any questions about the financial report? Hear none, that report stands as read. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Next item is the DHS Coordinated Transportation System Agreement. And this is with Varidia. This is the third-party contract that the state uses now. It used to be that the Regional Commission did this, but several years ago, the Regional Commission stopped doing this, being a third-party vendor for the state on the DHS Coordinated Transportation. We had another group that we used for a couple of years, and now this is a new group that they have. And this is, as I said, the Georgia Department of Human Services Coordinated Transportation System Subcontractor Agreement. So they're the contractor with the state, we're the sub, as we will be handling Warren County. And this agreement calls for us to work with them and provide transportation to our seniors. And we provide transportation to our seniors the Senior Citizen Center, which is how this funding comes about. We also can provide trips to, local grocery store, post office, things like that, as we're transporting them back and forth to the senior citizens. And we also, have some funding to do some homebound meals, so that's where this funding comes in. There is a, amount each year allocated, based on, what our censuses have been over the last number of years. And so we'll continue to, work with them on this, as we move forward. If we hit our limit before the end of the year, this runs July to June, just like our fiscal year does. So if we hit our limit, let's say by March 31st, and there's no additional funding, because it's done on a per trip basis. And we usually run out of funding usually in late April, so usually May and June, we've already, run through our funding. So this is, just a new, contract that the state has. Everything else we're doing on our end is still the same. So, we just a subcontractor, as we've been for many, many years. And it just helps us to, offset some of that cost. So, any questions on this contract? Here none, is there a motion that we approve?
Oh,
A motion, to have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the agreement? Here none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item that we have is Department of Family and Children's Services. We have two appointments. This was postponed last month at our meeting, to discuss a little further with the, different ones that we were talking to about, the possible filling of some vacancies. Ms. Nahady Brooks had resigned on the, Department of, Family and Children's Services. And I've talked to Ms. B.J. Evans, who's agreed to, be, of service and complete that term on the Department of, Family and Children's Services Board. And then Ms. Linda Story's term just ended June 30th of this year. So her term needs to be someone appointed there or her to be reappointed. And she has agreed to, continue and be reappointed if we wish. So, that's the two names I have and it has agreed. So if y'all have any other names you'd like to consider, we can consider those names also. Or if not, we can move forward with, approval of these two names, for the unexpired term that was, Ms. Nahady resigned from, and then a full term for Ms. Linda Story to be reappointed to. Any questions? Hear none, do I have a motion?
Got a motion?
Motion that we appoint Ms. B.J. Evans to finish the term of Ms. Nahady Brooks' resignation, and to reappoint Ms. Linda Story to a full term, to both on the DFAX board. Any, do I have a second?
second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hear none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item is library board appointment. And Ms. Dorothy Boatwright was a member, one of the members on the library board. And I mentioned last week, last meeting, she had just passed away right before our meeting. And she's been a member on our library board for a while, and she has a term, so this will be an unexpired term. We have a 5-member board of the library. They serve 3-year terms. This is an unexpired term for her. And Ms. Rochelle Carter has, agreed to serve on the board. And she is, at the library a good bit, and, is familiar with the library and has been very supportive of the library and going to the library, and being a part of the library and different things going on. I think she'll be a good addition to the board. And, so she's looking forward to it if we're willing to appoint her. So that would be my recommendation, but we will accept any other names that y'all may have. Hearing no other names, is there a motion to appoint Ms. Carter?
Motion.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hear none, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next is the PTR lost. That's for property tax relief lost. It originally started a couple of years ago as House Bill 581. And all you heard call back then was, flossed. And that was from floating homestead exemption. And then it was put on the ballot, to the citizens if they wanted to have homestead exemption with a, flossed, as it was called then. And it was passed once it was put on the ballot. And when it was originally started and it was voted on, it was supposed to not take effect. The sales tax actually took effect January 1st of this year being collected. But it was not supposed to be any rollback until the 2027 tax year. This legislative session changed that with some different things they did. I know y'all heard about how they were trying to do away with property taxes, and they was gonna do all these different things. Well, it kind of failed until the last minute, right before midnight. They did get some stuff passed. And one thing it did was changed where this floss is now called PTR loss, or property tax relief loss. And they changed that this money would start being used this year, even though we've only collected through June 30th. And sales tax you get them the month after. So in January, the tax was collected, we received that money in February. So really, there's a 5-month window here to be collected. So when that was collected, through that period, we have collected $336,359.63 through the end of June. So that money now will be used this year by the county and the 3 cities through our intergovernmental agreement to roll back property taxes. It can only be used as a rollback. And the agreement, 86.1% goes to the county, 1.4% to Camat, 1.1% to Norwood, and 11.4% goes to Warrenton. That was based on, we thought it was gonna be for a whole year. We were estimating that the county and the 3 cities would be able to roll back the millage rate, in every jurisdiction, at least a meal or better. I think, we were pushing about 1.8, 1.9 meals, to be able to roll back, depending on if collections stayed where we were estimating them to be. So far, they have done fairly good this year, but we're only talking about, part of a year. So, with the new way that we have to do this, the county holds this money and we hold it in an interest-bearing account. So that interest is happen over the few months will also get tacked on to this amount. We have to send that to Department of Revenue and how much everybody's receiving, and then they will work that into how we have to do all our digest stuff. So, we'll be, and we have till this Friday to submit to the 3 cities their amount of funding, for this. So I just wanted to make everybody aware, see if there was any questions, concerns. There's really no action to take here. This is already, it's the law, it's in place, it's what we have to do. It was a matter of information to let everybody know. So Diane, y'all will be getting some money from in. You can check with your folks, y'all be getting, I don't know I didn't figure the amounts I should have before I come. Actually, I can do it right quick.
Of course you can do it, can't you? Of course you can do it right.
So, I don't know.
No, we don't let Joe.
Of course, it's like I'm right. I don't have the, without this, it'll be a little bit more because I don't have have the,
Interest.
I don't have the, interest on here. But, I get my phone to work the way I need it to.
Well, with that being said, you thought it was gonna be next year instead of this year, so will taxes on homestead exempt be a little bit?
Next year, you'll have a full 12 months, it'll be July through
They'll
June.
prorate it a little bit this year?
This year, it will be rolled back this year based on, all right, CAMAC is 1.4%. $4,709, so it depends on what their value comes in, and what they set their millage rate at, as to what that rollback would be.
But I mean, it will affect this year, but we thought it was gonna start next
It
year.
will affect this year, yes. So it might be, my guess is it's gonna be close to $1 million, maybe, give or take. But until I see the digest numbers, I really don't know. So it'll be a little different from that, Diane. And Kwame, let's see, the cities will be, a little over 38,000. Like I said, it'll be a little bit off, a little more than that, because I don't have the interest, which is, probably less than $1,000 worth of interest in there right now, because it's only been this few little months, and it took a few months before, like June, we had a pretty good, grew a pretty good bit of interest, because we had a little money in there. Prior to that, it was building up, so not a whole lot, so. Let's see. For the county, it's 289, so, yeah, we're probably looking at, that's about $1 million, probably, I know for the county, depending on how the digest falls, it's in that meal range, and I would say it should probably affect the other cities about the same. So anyway, that all changed, there's some new forms we have to fill out, that, the cities will give us, there's some forms y'all gonna have to fill out, some new forms on top of the 32.1, I don't know if y'all familiar with those, but, in the 5-year histories, there'll be some additional stuff that has to be handled, so. But, we'll be getting those checks out probably tomorrow, so, that way they'll be to y'all by Friday. And, have all that in place, so, do y'all have any questions on that? Anybody in the audience got a question? And then on the property, that's basically how it's gonna work. And it'll come through, this is a 5-year, it's a run for 5 years, so, end of the 31 will be the end of the tax. At this point, there's a couple of different ways, the way the law is right now, you could redo this, what they call it, PTR loss. Or they put in, one of the things they did at the last minute was a LHOS, which is basically where this is across the board. It's residential, agricultural, industrial, it's across the board rollback. The LHOS is only for homesteaded properties. That's another thing they put in this year at the last minute that can be, but you have to go to the legislature to get the legislative body to approve that. It takes a 2/3 majority at the legislative level for those to pass. And if you heard anything during the special session this summer, all of the ones that got, that were put in place, and I think it was 30-something if I remember, all got voted down because they couldn't get 2/3 vote. So all of the counties and cities that tried to push this for their communities for an LHOS did not get approved because there's a lot of bickering as to what needs to be done in Atlanta for property taxes. So stay tuned, because, it's gonna change in January again, I guarantee you. So, we'll see, but that's, where we at. So, we are under this, and we'll, like I said, this will go for 5 years, and this is the first year of collection, so we basically got 4.5 more years of collection to do. So it will help Warren County through that period. Where we at At that point, when it runs out, it's anybody's guess, cause I'm not sure where we're going with all of this stuff, cause they all have different opinions on that, so. Any other questions? Here now, we're gonna move on to SPOS. Our SPOS runs out June 30th of next year, 2027. It's a 5-year sales tax. And it's a special purpose local option sales tax. And it is, used to do capital projects only. It only can do capital projects. Right now, we have funding for these that go into economic development, recreation, water and sewer, and, emergency services. Went blank for a minute. So that's where it's going right now. And it's broken up into, right now, it's water's 30%, economic development's 20%, recreation's 15%, and our emergency services 35%. We had a joint meeting on June the 18th, with cities and county. And I've also followed up, went to the city meeting. They asked me to come to and discuss this further. And I just got, finally, update, which is just the same intergovernmental agreement we've been using for years. It just, it's only changing the numbers, and then I have 2 resolutions that allows us to put this on the ballot. We gotta send it to the Board of Elections to be placed on the ballot. It'll be advertised, before the election, and, then the citizens will decide if they would like to continue having the special, purpose local option sales tax for capital projects. This, here, follows a, difference in the way it's, laid out, and that 40% would go to water and sewer, 40% would go to, emergency services, 10% to recreation, and 10% for economic development. And then the 3 cities and the county split up the 40% of the water and sewer. Economic development comes to the county, and because we do all the, economic development. Warrenton does have a downtown development authority that does a little bit of stuff. But all the funding still comes to us, because usually we wind up with most of the economic development stuff. Recreation comes to the county, but it's to be used and split across by all of it, 3 cities and the county. That's the reason Cedar Park, or MLK Park now, is getting the work done on it. And there's some additional stuff that we're looking at. I know I've talked to, Diane. She just got some ideas, some stuff in, Camac. We're talking about some more stuff in Warrenton. Norwood has asked me about some stuff. So we're gonna form a committee, 1 representative from each city and the county to discuss further how we use recreation money as we move forward. And then emergency services, the city does get a little bit of that, because they have a fire and, police department, and then the rest comes to the county, because we handle the county and Norwood and Camac. So, but that's how, this agreement's laid out for us to move forward. So, and, this is what she was talking about, Diane, earlier, that,
I just
got out, that finally got from Scott today. So, is there any questions on the reason we changed up a little bit? Water, sewer, and emergency services are 2 of the most, they're like about the costliest stuff we have to deal with. I mean, all of it's costly, but, anytime you deal with water, sewer, emergency services, it's high dollar. I mean, you know, we're doing the little project, out here just outside of Warrenton, right before we get to Camac, Calvin Drive, and, George Lane, and a little bit of Highway 80 Norrington. I mean, we're talking about, we're gonna serve about 25 houses, if everybody signs up, and that project's gonna wind up costing about $1.4 million. You see, I mean, you know, that's just that little area. I think if you're trying to spread it out for a mile miles, and that's a lot. I mean, a fire truck, basic Class A pumper that's required for you to have, ISO requirements that follow. Minimum is 500,000, usually a little more than that. And then you got another $140,000 worth of equipment going on there. And just to outfit one firefighter with turnout gears, about $2,700 right now. So it's very expensive, then you get into law enforcement now and all of those things, so that's kind of the reason we changed it a little bit. I mean, it's important, and all of those areas are very important to the community, but we're estimating to collect about $4 million over the 5 years on current collections. If collections get better, then, the numbers will go up from there, assuming that the community votes us in November. Do we have any questions on all of that? If we do not have any questions, I'm gonna start, with the first resolution here, 26-07-01. And this is, authorizing me to be able to sign the intergovernmental agreement. And I'll tell you what. Yeah, that'd be fine. I was fixing to change, but we'll go with this. So that's what this first one does, just if it's passed in a few minutes, then I will be able to sign it. If it does not pass, this resolution will not matter. So, but anyway, since that's the way we got on the agenda, I'm gonna go in line here. So that's the resolution I just presented. Any questions? If there's no questions, do I have a motion that we approve?
Motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. And motion carries. Next is resolution 2026-07-02. And this is to present this to the elections department, and ask them that, the call, the Board of Elections do a call, of election to the voters of Warren County to approve the imposition of such tax, which is the 5%, is the 1% special local option sales tax for the projects, as we have stated. And, if there's no questions, on that, do I have a motion that we approve?
Move.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And next is the intergovernmental agreement, which 3 cities and county agreed to, that we will, we'll put the money in those categories. All the money comes to the county, then we have to disperse it out quarterly to the cities, based on the agreement here. That's how they receive their funding. And, it'll be 40 emergency services, 40 water and sewer, 10 economic development, and 10 to recreation. And then the way it's split up to the cities and the counties. Is there any questions? No question. Do I have a motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement?
Motion.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hear none. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. So we will, follow up with the cities on, getting all of those things. Did y'all take any action the other night after we discussed it? There's no action.
Pretty same page.
Well, I need to follow up and see. If not, I know y'all hadn't taken it up yet, so.
We have a meeting last night to discuss.
Okay, well, now I'll get with Norwood so we can get everybody on board, because I need to have it by the end of the month, so we can meet the 90 days, that you have to have before, to give it to the elections board for the call and all. So I'll follow up with you, and I'll follow up with your clerk. So, all right, well, thank y'all. Next is, information, we've been talking about this for, I don't know how long. It's been kind of held up at the state level. The Zoom Telecom, received word probably almost a year ago now, after working on it for a couple of years, of a grant, through some B funding that the state received, for internet, and it was gonna be working in this eastern part of the county, which is still doesn't have, internet of much of any kind, especially, in-ground internet. I mean, there's some wireless type stuff. Comcast has a little bit headed out to Camac, but other than that, really, this eastern side doesn't have a whole lot. So they advised me last week, that the state is sending them a contract, either this week or next week, supposedly. It's been going around in circles, but hopefully, we'll get that signed off on, and we can start that work in the next, several months, hopefully, in this area. It will not get everybody, and also, we're trying to push up into the Norwood area that doesn't have anything really either. It pretty much stops about Atlanta Highway, goes back that way with some internet on the western side. Warrenton has some, Camac has a little, and then this whole eastern side is pretty much nothing other than, unless you're gonna do some kind of, wireless, type, Starlink, something like that. So we're hoping to get that kicked off. We'll let y'all know more about that as we kind of get into that a little bit. And we're hoping to work with them to get a second round. This is just, what we call it phase one. We hope to have a phase two to pick up some other areas that, was supposed to be handled by, the group that worked with Washington EMC, Connexion on the western side. Well, Connexion and Jefferson Energy have not come up with any agreements. That's Connexion's thing. They like to work with EMCs to try to bring internet, use their poles and do all that. Well, that has not worked on this side. So this group's trying to work with Connexion to see if they can work together somehow. But that's up in the air. And that funding was RDOF funding, was coming through the FCC. And they had 6 years to have that installed, and that happened about 4 years ago. So they're running out of time. They gotta do something, or they will pay a fine, which really, from what I've seen on it, the fine is not a whole lot if they don't do it. So, I mean, they might just play it out. We'll see what happens. So that's where we're at on that. Is there any questions on where we're at with that project? All right. Next, update on the new 911 EOC building. If you've been by there, you've seen that they have started, and, with construction, they have, cleared the, grass off, getting all the grass pushed over, topsoil out of the way. We were scheduled this morning to have a proof roll of the site, just make sure it was ready, we could start digging footings. But after the rain all night long, we had to put that off, so we're scheduled now to do that Friday, because it was too wet to do the proof roll today. So hopefully that will happen Friday, and then you'll see that we'll start digging footings and start moving on from there. So it is taking off, projected to be finished April of next year. So hopefully we will, stay on track with that, but that's the, current schedule we have. So hopefully everything will stay on track with that. Any questions on the kickoff for that? And we will do a ribbon cutting, and I'll get with Jeffrey and Danielle, we'll figure all that out, down on that time frame whenever. Hopefully we'll stay on that time frame, or if it goes a little longer, when we get through, we'll have a ribbon cut, and we'll have where, we can let everybody see the facility, and have a kind of open house, in the facility. Any questions on that? And the last thing before we do review the credit cards, last month, we talked about emerging technology ordinance, which is, encompassing our solar, any cryptocurrency, any data centers, all of that, battery storage facilities. We kind of got that, research center is also, in that. So we're working on that. We talked about the draft. So the draft's been done, on some more. I talked with the attorney about it today, he's doing more work on it, so we're hoping to have it before the planning commission at their meeting next month. And then it'll be at our meeting for our September meeting to try to get this in place, so we have an updated part of our land use ordinance, right? We have some stuff in there, but this will give it more strength and give us some additional things. It makes things conditional uses, so it has to go before planning commission, has to come before the board of commissioners. There's different restrictions, setbacks, height limits, different things like that that's in there that we're trying to get in place. So moving forward, that's will happen with those type of facilities if they wish to come into the county and go through those processes. So we're continuing to work on that. It's been a work in progress, and everybody that's asked me about it, why don't y'all do it? Y'all need to get it done. We're working on it, and they don't like that it's dragging and moving slow, but I'm trying to make sure, as me and the attorney talked about today, is that once we pass it, if we go to court, we wanna feel like we got something. I mean, you never know when you go to court what'll happen, but if we have to go to court, we don't want a loophole somewhere, so we're trying to make sure we covered everything. But I can't say we won't get sued, but if we do, we just hope we got something good in place that it doesn't affect us. So we're continuing to work on that, but that's the plan right now. Hopefully that will happen. So I'm hoping that y'all will have a copy of that by the end of the month, so you can review it before your meeting. Cause it is changing from the original document y'all seen with the draft, so it's got some changes to it. So I'm hoping to have that, like I said, give y'all a couple of weeks to review. So, any questions on that ordinance? Okay. Here none, we're down to view a credit card, but before then, we will take, our questions from our citizens and see if anybody's got anything. So I'm gonna start over here with Tammy, she's holding the camera, and then we'll work our way all the way.
All good, all good.
Thanks, Tammy. Jeffrey, you got anything?
I'll just say that the ice cream social's coming up on August 1st. So that'll be at the depot. It's kind of like a last hurrah before back to school. So everyone can come out. It's free ice cream. Businesses donate toppings, so everyone's welcome. Also have Turtle Festival coming up on the 5th, September 5th. So be on the lookout for that. Lots of history and different speakers will be here, vendors, reenactors, so be on the lookout. Tammy's been coordinating that, and then we're supporting as best we can. I think that's the big thing. Next 2 months, so just keep on the lookout on social media and in the paper, and be ready. Red, white, and blue.
Okay.
Dragging it on a little longer, not just before. Yeah.
Ice cream social, August.
First.
Thank you.
It's the last Saturday before school
Okay,
kicks back hardcore.
thank you.
6 to 8.
Yeah, it's like 6 to 8.
What's the date of the Turtle Fest?
It's the Labor Day weekend, the 5th of September.
Well, we'll go down the back road, circle around, so, want me to get anything?
Well, I did get an update on, passing that, splosh. I think we waited for the final.
Okay. I assume that's what it's waiting.
And actually, while you were talking, they sent an email saying that we were gonna get together, and go ahead and do what we need to do before
Okay.
the 30th. We'll get it to you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Everything's looking good to, go ahead and have the, EMS, firefighter course. Got some students signing up to, participate. So we're looking forward to, have students trained, and have opportunity to work right here.
I should have the video on Friday. on YouTube, so I can send it to y'all, so y'all can share with other students too.
On Friday?
Mhm.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah, hopefully that's gonna work, and we can try to, capture some kids that may wanna get into that field and keep them here at home and try to have some improvements to our workforce, but, try to keep kids here if we can. It'll be another opportunity that we can try to bring them, keep them at home. So looking forward to that. Man's been working with Crystal on that, and also Glasgow County working with them, so it's gonna be a joint kind of two county thing, so see how that's gonna go.
And in that same vein, anybody have anything they want to, discuss or input in terms of, the school's, programs to, help provide opportunities for students, as well as, continue to, solidify relationships with businesses. We talked to, the chamber, a lot. Got some things going to help prepare students for the workforce in this next upcoming school year. So, we're here for it, so, feel free to give us a call.
Thanks, sir, we appreciate it. Adam, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
You already addressed what I came for.
All right. I figured you might want to be interested in that part. Thank you.
Ricketson Firehouse, is it up and going yet?
No, ma'am, it is not. We're still working on some issues. We still running up both units out of headquarters right now. We're trying to work out some logistical issues with how it's gonna be dispatched, with two locations. We've been ordering some different stuff that needs to go in down there. We pretty much got most of it in right now. The biggest thing is that logistical, how we're gonna, that station will run, since we are contracted with Glasgow, we're doing Glasgow, we are gonna run all of that out of Glasgow. We're trying to figure out our districts, where we're gonna draw the line, how we're gonna dispatch and do some stuff, so. And we having to work with the, CAD vendor and stuff on that, so it's been a little headache, more than we expected, so. That's held us up a little bit. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's a functional fire station right now with fire equipment and all in there. Just don't have the ambulance down there yet. Or personnel. They just up here, they're just not down there yet. We'll hopefully get them there soon. Anything else?
No. Okay, here I go. Okay.
All right.
I have three things I need to address, maybe four. When I was at the last meeting, I believe it was, I talked about Evergreen with that bump. Well, somebody came, I guess it was DOT, and they put a big white strip there to let us know to stop. But then that strip they pulled up, they just threw it to the side of the highway and left it there. Whoever did that, I don't know. County or DOT.
That, did they put us right there?
Yes.
I'd have to check.
I mean, it's
So
a
we got
big
some-
wide piece and they just pulled it, did you see it, Courtney? And they just threw it to the side of the road, I'm like, that wasn't nice.
I'll have to check and
Okay.
see,
And the
because
road is still
they
broken.
would, well, I was gonna say, I've talked to DOT, cause when we tie into state route, they come so far and we have to do. Well, they were fine to let the county pay for it, so
Sure.
we have our resurfacing is fixing to get started, but we just got all that agreement. I have a meeting, I believe it's Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, pre-construction meeting to get that kicked off. And that's gonna be an ad on Pine Avenue and Evergreen for them to do those patches, so it's coming in the next several months. So, I have to check on the other issue, cause I don't know why that, cause if they pulled it up, that's just tape they put down, so.
I don't know, but they just threw it side of the road and I'm like, geez, they could have just threw it on the back of the truck, I guess.
Yeah,
but-
I'll check on that.
No, they pulled it up, it's like a piece of paper or something that's pulled up and thrown, but anyway, other thing is, going to Thompson on the left side there, I saw those flags up, what's going on there? I see a lot of people doing a lot of,
They doing surveys.
surveys out there.
Mhm.
Okay. And last but not least, I think the pig is closed. Do you know anything about that, or Jeffrey? You know anything about it? I mean, is it gone for real?
They're remodeling in there.
I am not aware of anything, other than we're trying to do some stuff to improve it. It's not a whole lot, that's all I can say.
That's all I've heard too.
Yeah.
But they have not talked to us about any of that.
I guess that's all for today.
They're not as involved as some other local businesses, I'll say that.
They're what now?
They're not as involved as some other local businesses.
I see Santa Town in there.
John, I wanted, something I wanted to think about, or ask about, was the new work that's being done right there at George Lane and all that, when they get the final map, is there a way that we can get a copy of that so that we can have it where, because the water line is, they hit a water line the other day. And I guess because why they had it open, they went ahead and put their sewer box up underneath the water line there, and I just wondered if we needed to get an updated thing to have it on hand, so that, you know, if we ever had to deal anything with water, we would know that the sewer line is there. Is there a way that we can eventually, whenever they're through the project, I'm sure, you know, there'll be a map, we'll pay,
We'll
you
get
know, to
you,
have.
we can get a copy of the as-bills after they're finished. I just haven't made an extra copy.
Okay, that's fine. I just remembered we talked about that.
Yeah, we'll get you an extra copy.
That's fine.
Anybody, everybody good? I got one more thing to, y'all probably have heard this one, if not, it'll be news to you, but you probably already heard. ACM, the foundry, is, advised me, about a week ago, of their closure, by the end of this year. It's gonna affect 107 employees in the community. It will start sometime in mid to late part of September, phasing out, but completely be closed, the end of the year, December. There'll be a couple people after December finalizing the last little details, but for the most part, everybody, December will be it. They are, actively trying to sell the facility while it's still running, which would be a plus to hopefully get, some folks in here. I've been talking to folks, I know Jeffrey's, and on some of the stuff that's going out, with workforce development and other things that's going on. So we'll be working with them as we move through this process to hopefully, find somebody who'll be willing to come in there and maybe take it and go with it. But, so we're gonna be working on that, but, we got a short window to work through, cause once it closes down, it's gonna be a whole lot harder to sell the facility than somebody can see it working, so. We'll see how that goes, but,
Is the company going, I mean, are they going out of business? I mean, what's the reason?
they said they're just closing this facility, they got, their main group that they work with is Honda. And Honda and ACM, have a very tight working relationship, and they have facilities all around the world, not a lot, but they do have in Mexico, Japan, a couple of places. Their headquarters is in Michigan. So they're just closing this facility because it's not feasible for them to keep running at this point. So, it's a business decision that they made with their whole area of stuff. So hopefully with, with Hyundai, that's, now close to Savannah, and the other plants, that we got, in Tennessee, South Carolina, and Alabama, that maybe somebody will see that as something that will work for them. So we just gotta work and see, but we'll be working on that and, trying to see what we can do to, get something going in there, hopefully sooner than later. So, just wanted to let y'all know.
Can I piggyback off that with just
Yeah.
so one thing that we were already working on with Commit is a college and career fair for the students, and we talked about opening it to the public, so it's gonna be actually at the cultural center instead of the school. And, it kind of aligns really well, September the 18th. It's actually the day that they're closed. We're gonna, for any employees that don't have jobs for that, they'll get invited to that. We're working with Vivian too to try to find other resources for them, but, would love for it to be open and be a business, but we gotta help the people who are gonna be jobless in the meantime. So hopefully we'll have some resources for them, keep connecting them to jobs and keep them employed here.
Are those employees, are most of them with you, Warrenton?
They're all local as, yeah,
It's,
the region.
It's probably about 60-40 for in-county versus out-of-county.
Yeah.
So, and, we do have the workforce development right here in this building now, which is helpful, they're right here in town. So that's helpful to work through that process too, so. Well, that's all I have. Anybody else have anything? If not, we're gonna review the credit card bill and motion that we adjourn. Yeah, second, motion second, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. And thank y'all very much for coming, we appreciate y'all being here, and,